My husband has died, and his ex-girlfriend has just written to me from prison, asking me to adopt their child. I don't know what to do. It's a long story, but I have to tell it because I feel overwhelmed. Everyone in my life has an opinion, some of them very strong, and I just want somewhere to let it out and hear some perspective. My husband died the week before Thanksgiving. We were informally separated at the time. We didn't live together. I still loved him, but because of his drug addiction, I chose to distance myself from him in the hope that he would seek treatment and kick the habit. He was seeking help, but it wasn't enough and he overdosed. He became addicted when he was young in college, but he got clean, and I believe he stayed clean for many years. At that time, he had a girlfriend, and she became addicted as well. They had 2 children. Eventually, he got clean, got a good job, got his life together, took care of all his responsibilities, and was granted custody of both children. I actually knew him from primary and secondary school. We lost touch when we went to different secondary schools. We didn't meet again until after his first drug use and detox. By the time we met, he had been clean for a few years. His children were 5 and 3 at the time and are now 10 and 8. Their mother supervises the visits. I don't have any biological children. I'm very sad that he's dead. I haven't really come to terms with it yet, but I feel especially sorry for his children. They've had a hard time over the past year or so, dealing with his problems. And now they've suffered the ultimate loss. Even though we were separated and didn't live together, I remained in their lives. He moved back in with his parents and took the girls with him. But I still visit them a lot and am involved in all aspects of their lives. I never called myself their mother, but in fact I took on the role every day. I did everything a mother would do. Their mother was recently arrested for burglary and is serving time in prison. This happened after he died. I thought she was doing better. She attended his memorial service and looked much better than she had in the past. She wrote me a very heartbreaking letter asking me to adopt her daughters. She basically admitted that she didn't know if she could overcome her addiction and that she didn't want her daughters to go and live with relatives on both sides. She wanted them to live with me because it was what they knew now, and she felt they would be safe here. She said that the girls had asked her if they could live with me and had mentioned my house, our former family home. I was completely taken by surprise. She hadn't particularly liked me before. She has been talking for years about kicking her drug habit for the girls and getting custody back. She did have some good times, but never stuck with it. I didn't feel like a good mother and didn't say yes right away. I haven't answered her yet. I feel like the most evil person in the world for not saying yes right away. I love those girls. For years, I have basically lived with them as their mother. I worry about them every day. However, why do I feel like I really want to do this? I don't even know if it's possible or what kind of fight it would be. I don't think his parents would easily agree. I get along well with his parents, but they value family very much, and his death hit them hard, so I can't imagine them letting their daughters go without a fierce fight. I can't help but think about the kind of lifelong trouble I might get myself into if I insist on doing this. Dealing with her family, the girls' extended family, the trauma the girls may have to face forever because of their parents. I don't know if I'm strong enough to deal with all of this, and it makes me feel like a horrible person. Popular related comments commenter, it's not horrible that you stopped to think about this. You stepped up when their mom couldn't. But honestly, I think if the mom wants to give up custody or give up her rights, then a clean and stable parent or a relative on her side would get priority. Would you be willing to go to court for the sake of the children? Hire a lawyer? That's another thing. I don't know if his parents are elderly, or if they don't want to. I know it seems selfish, but have you considered what effect this will have on your future relationships, remarriage, or having children? You haven't said your age, or if you really want to have biological children. Consider all of this. Your last paragraph sums it up. Adopting a traumatized child is a huge undertaking. Boundaries are everything. Is the mother suggesting she can have access to the child at any time? Does she want her family to have access to the child? What do you know about her family? Your situation is very unique. But as I have seen in other open adoptions, the child that ends up being raised is not ultimately yours. Let's say this mother does go before a judge. She says she wants to relinquish custody. Neither party has decided to step forward. If you agree to pursue and obtain adoption, I would not want you to be surprised when those who do not want to take on the permanent responsibility of raising a child comment on every decision you make regarding the care of the child. They may even try to create a rift between the child and you. Again, I don't know these people. I'm just describing the situation to you. I pray that any decision you ultimately make will bring you peace. Response from the operations department? I'm 35, my husband is 36, and his parents are both in their 60s. They're in good health for people in their 60s. I've certainly thought about what this will mean for my future. I mean, I'm still not over everything that's happened. A year ago, everything was fine. It's all happened in less than a year. I'm in no hurry to start a new relationship. I feel a bit like I'm assessing what I want. I say this completely independently of my daughter's situation.
I didn't expect it to come to this.
When I married him, I didn't anticipate any of this, let alone his death, which left me a widow at the age of 35. Even after he relapsed, I was still trying to decide whether I could still be completely with him. If he managed to kick the habit, I haven't completely decided not to maintain the marriage. I'm not ready to divorce yet, but I've started to think, well, if he succeeds in kicking the habit and we stay married, I may never have children with him, because that's a risk I can't take. Can I still accept 1 or 2 comments like that? The only questions you need to answer right now are, do you love them? Can you provide for them? If the answer to all 3 questions is yes, then it's worth the effort. Do the children's parents have custody, or does he just live there with them? If they don't have custody, the mother needs to get the child protection services involved and tell them that the girl wants to live with you and that she wants them to live with you too. So the first step is to get custody. If you get custody, the next step is the adoption process. Since there is only the mother left, she can give up her parental rights during the adoption process, but not earlier, just to be on the safe side. The response from the operations department? His parents have temporary custody, but they want permanent custody. The girl's mother seems to be doing well and is fighting hard for custody. That's the way things were until we heard about her arrest, which came as a surprise to everyone. She's doing everything she can to prove that she's fit to be a parent. We all have reservations. But she does seem to be doing well. She has a job and is healthy. She got back together with her ex-boyfriend, and whenever the two of them were together, she relapsed and ended up getting arrested. I love them and want them in my life, but I think I can find a way to be involved in their lives even without custody. Of course, if they end up with permanent custody, their grandparents will ultimately decide that. They are still angry at me for separating from him. They are accomplices. They don't realize it and they mean well. They think they can get him off drugs through love. So they think I abandoned him. Update after 3 months. 3 months ago, I posted this message under a different username, but I can no longer access that account. Since then, I have decided to fight for custody of my children. This was a big decision, and although I spent a lot of time thinking about it, I didn't have much time to think about it. What finally made me decide was when my ex-in-laws said that they didn't believe that their daughters should receive therapy to help them cope with the death of their father and their almost non-existent drug-addicted mother. This was shocking, because anyone in their right mind would think that these girls should be given every possible help. At the same time, it was not surprising, because they also denied their son these problems. They were also the strongest pushers I have ever met. They were very image and achievement-oriented, and only wanted to be the best athletes. I believe they did this out of good intentions, but that does not change the impact of their actions on my son, other children, or grandchildren. I never thought I would have to work with my husband's ex-girlfriend, but that is what happened. It was not easy for her. Yes, she is not a good mother, but I know she wishes she could be. I know it is hard for her to admit that she cannot be the mother to her children. Despite all her problems and her selfishness in the past, I cannot imagine why she would want to give up custody of her children. I am glad that she has finally been able to put aside her selfishness and think about the children. I also feel sorry for her that although she still has custody of her daughter, she has no say in who gets to adopt them. I understand the need for safety measures to ensure the children are placed with safe people, but I am willing to undergo any kind of assessment to prove that I can provide them with a safe and stable home. You might think this would be simple. She just terminates her parental rights and states that she wants me to adopt the children. While this is part of the process, it is not the case. In fact, it is quite simple. His parents are obsessed with winning again, and they have already tried to prevent this through the courts. Essentially, they want to apply for some kind of injunction so that if her rights are removed, they have the opportunity to adopt the girls first. They want to wear me down in the process and make up stories to make me look like an unfit parent. I may be single, but they are in their 60s. The girls love them, but they don't want to live with them 24/7. Until last summer, their father and I lived in their home, which is almost the longest they can remember. I'm not rich. I can support myself, but I don't have enough savings to cope if they really want to go this far. What's annoying is that I still feel they're only doing this because they want to win. And they're obsessed with family and the surname. I've never said I want to cut them off from the girls, even if I don't necessarily like or agree with some of the things they do. I've told them straight that I think we can and should all be part of the girls' lives. The girls do love their grandparents and aunts, who are my husband's sisters, but none of them have shown any interest in getting custody of the girls. I think they need as many people in their lives as possible who love and care for them. Even their mother's family, for whom I would swallow my pride. I feel so frustrated, and most people can't easily understand my situation. I'm grateful that there are many people who support me, even if they think I'm crazy for doing this. At the same time, I don't think anyone can advise me based on their experience. /related comments. Commenter, it's great that you're sticking to this. His family sounds very shallow. People who put shallow things first assume that other people value the same things. They don't seem to understand that you're concerned about the children's well-being, because ultimately, they won't really care for them. It's unfortunate, but you have to keep at it. Make sure you have a strong support system of friends or family. Don't forget to prioritize yourself too, and always remind yourself why you're doing this. Commenters who vote against. I don't think grandparents in their 60s are too old to care for their grandchildren, and OPP is trying to prevent that, so I won't take everything OPP says as fact. The grandparents clearly don't think they need treatment because they tend to deny and overhelp their son. But that's not the worst crime. I think they will likely get custody instead of OP. The birth mother's parental rights will also be terminated. The court won't care that they think motor skills are important. OP responded that they are healthy and able to care for 2 children, but they are in their 60s. In 10 years, when the youngest child graduates high school, they will be in their 80s. I don't think their age will prevent them from raising the girls, but obviously the older they are, the greater the chance of illness, death, or other medical issues. There are plenty of grandparents their age raising children, and I don't mean to disparage any of them, but I'm also thinking from the girls' perspective. Can't they just live a normal life? Their father is dead, and their mother is an addict currently serving time in prison. Can't they have a parent who is the same age as all of their friends' parents? Someone who is less likely to get sick or die in the next 10 to 15 years. Their grandparents can still be their grandparents, not to mention that they consider my home their home. This is where our family lives. Their bedroom is here, their backyard is here, their dog is here. Their father is dead, and almost every other aspect of their lives has changed or been taken away. He did take them with him when he moved in with his parents last summer. I tried to get him to leave them with me, but he said they were his children, and he had to take them. He moved in with his parents because he relapsed, and eventually I said I couldn't live with him anymore. I don't want my daughters to live with him either, but I don't have a legal say. However, they still live with me at home, and most of their things are still at home. Commenter 3, if you are in the US, get a guardian ad litem for your case. It can be a lawyer or a CASA. A court-appointed special advocate will do an in-depth investigation, talk to the children and their mother, and make recommendations to the court on behalf of the children. Good luck. You are an amazing person and exactly the kind of mom these girls need. The operations department will definitely look into this.